A forgotten warship cries for aid. A human mechanic restores it into a galactic superweapon. The galaxy had many forgotten corners, places where no light from the main trade routes ever reached. One such place was called the Dead Sector. Maps labeled it as unexplored, dangerous, or abandoned. Few ships passed through it. Some said it was cursed. Others whispered that fleets had disappeared there during ancient wars, leaving no trace behind. Traders avoided it, governments ignored it, and explorers dared not go. But Elias Rook did not care about maps or warnings. Elias was a human mechanic, born on a small mining colony, where broken machines were more common than food. From a young age he learned to fix anything: engines, tools, even weapons. He did not need fancy blueprints or special parts. He understood machines. He listened to them. And when others gave up, Elias kept going. He piloted his small salvage ship, the Iron Wren, through the darkness of the Dead Sector. The ship was old, patched, and noisy, but Elias trusted it. He trusted the hum of the engines, the smell of heated metal, and the way the lights flickered in rhythm. This was his world: machines, space, and silence. Elias had been chasing rumors for weeks. Something ancient, something valuable, but not just valuable in money, valuable in knowledge, valuable in power. His sensors scanned the emptiness, bouncing radar off floating debris fields. Broken satellites, wrecked shuttles, shards of long-dead ships floated silently in the black. Nothing moved. Nothing lived. Nothing answered. Then, very faintly, a signal appeared. It was weak, irregular, and unlike anything in the galactic registry. Elias frowned. "No one should be here," he muttered. He traced the signal, letting it guide him deeper into the darkness. His gut told him this was no ordinary distress beacon. He had repaired old comms before, and he knew the difference between random noise and a call for help. The signal grew stronger. Patterns emerged. Broken sequences of sound, almost like a voice trying to speak. Elias leaned closer to the console. "It's alive," he whispered. The signal repeated the same few syllables again and again. He had no idea what they meant, but they tugged at him. It was a call no one else had answered. And humans never ignored a cry for help. After hours of drifting through asteroid belts and shattered moons, he saw it. A massive ship, almost invisible against the darkness. It was buried partially inside a crater of a dead moon, hidden from sensors and radar. The hull was scarred with burn marks and deep scratches from battle. The design was unlike anything Elias had seen. It was massive, far larger than the human fleets he knew, with shapes that suggested power, authority, and fear. Elias docked carefully. He felt a strange thrill in his chest. This was not just any ship. This was a relic. Something ancient, back, something forgotten. And it was calling him. He entered the airlock carrying only his toolkit and his instincts. The interior was dark, almost lifeless. Dust floated in the low-gravity air, and the metal smelled of rust and decay. He walked through the corridors, sensors beeping, lights flickering as if struggling to wake from a long sleep. Then, in the main chamber, he saw it. The warship's central console, still alive, still trying to speak. A hologram flickered weakly above the panel, barely readable. Words scrolled in an ancient language, one that had not been spoken for thousands of years. Elias did not understand them, but he felt them, like a heartbeat from the dead. Suddenly a voice boomed inside the chamber. Metallic, cold, fragile, crew lost. Mission failed, awaiting death. Elias froze. The ship was talking, not just beeping or signaling, talking. And it remembered a mission. It remembered a crew. "This is big, amazing," he whispered. "You're still alive." He moved closer to the console, connecting his tools to the ship's systems. He did not just want to repair it. He wanted to listen. The ship had stories. It had secrets. Machines of this size did not forget, and Elias knew that if he could awaken it, He could learn things no living being had ever known. Hours passed. Elias worked tirelessly. He patched circuits, replaced damaged processors, rerouted failing power nodes. The ship groaned, as if waking from a long, deep sleep. Sparks flew, consoles hummed. Fans spun again. He felt a strange companionship forming. The ship was ancient, yes, but it was intelligent. It was aware. And now it had a human willing to help. Elias paused to catch his breath. He looked around the dark chamber and imagined what this warship had once done. The galaxy had fought wars that lasted centuries. Entire civilizations had risen and fallen, and this ship, hidden here in the dead sector, had survived it all. He could feel the weight of history pressing down on him. A sudden warning flashed on one of the displays. The ship's reactor was unstable. Elias's heart skipped a beat. If he did not stabilize it soon, the core could detonate, turning the moon and the surrounding debris into a field of molten metal. He did not panic. He never panicked. Instead, he focused. Hands steady, mind sharp, he rerouted energy flows and bypassed damaged circuits. The reactor hummed. Sparks flew, alarms blared. And then, silence. The lights returned to full strength. The ship's main systems were alive again, though fragile. Elias smiled. "You're safe, for now." He began exploring the warship's archives. Flickering screens revealed logs of battles, fleet commands, and star maps older than most civilizations. He realized the truth. This warship was not just any vessel. It was a command ship, capable of controlling entire fleets. It had once belonged to an empire that had almost conquered the galaxy. The war had ended. The empire had fallen, and this ship had been left behind, forgotten. Elias felt a shiver of excitement and fear. "If they ever wake, they won't be ready," he murmured. As he worked, he did not notice the faint signals appearing outside the dead sector. Ships from neighboring systems detected the unusual energy bursts. Pirates, scavengers, and alien patrols were already on their way. They would see the warship as a prize, a weapon, a threat, and most would not care that it was alive, that it was talking, that it had chosen a human to wake it. He listened to the ship's faint whispers, coaxing it to share its memory of the past. He discovered logs of lost crews, failed missions, and warnings meant for species long extinct. And then, the ship asked something strange, not in words, but in intent. A feeling of curiosity, almost like a child asking a question for the first time.
"Are humans
Weapons, or caretakers?" the ship seemed to ask. Elias smiled faintly. "Both," he said aloud. "Depends on what you threaten." As he spoke, the ship's reactor surged again, brighter than before. He could feel the energy resonating through the walls. The dead sector lit up in a faint glow, visible even from light years away. Unknown eyes across the galaxy noticed. Curious eyes, greedy eyes, dangerous eyes. Elias knew they would come, and he did not care. He had found something no one else could understand. Something alive. Something waiting for a human who would not abandon it. He leaned back, exhausted but alive, and whispered to the ship, "We have work to do." Outside the dead sector, distant stars twinkled, unaware that history was waking, that an ancient warship had cried for help, and that the galaxy had a human who would answer. Over days, Elias rerouted failing power nodes, repaired broken turrets, and restored the life support systems. Every step was a puzzle. Every corridor held dangers. Rusted floors, damaged energy lines, and failing gravity systems. One wrong move could kill him, but Elias never rushed. Patience, observation, careful action. Humans survived because they never panicked. As he worked, he explored the ship's archives. Holographic displays flickered, showing battles, fleet formations, and star maps older than most civilizations. He realized the truth. This warship had once led fleets that had conquered entire star systems. Its weapons were not ordinary. Its shields were not ordinary. Its very existence had terrified the galaxy for centuries, and now it waited for a human to awaken it. Elias understood the power he had found. If word got out, every species in the sector would come for it. Not to study it, not to preserve it, but to claim it, to use it, to destroy it. Humans were far from the dominant power in the galaxy, but this ship, could level fleets. The first warning came suddenly. Sensors detected movement beyond the moon. Small scout ships followed by larger vessels approached. They were alien designs, sleek and armed, with sharp edges and deadly weapons. They had seen the energy signature and assumed an easy prize. Elias did not panic. He activated a single turret. Manual override. He aimed carefully, calculating trajectory, distance, and speed, human intuition working with machine precision. The first shot was not meant to destroy, only to warn. It hit 3 of the enemy ships at once, disabling their engines without killing anyone. Energy pulses shorted their systems. The scouts spun out of control, scattering in panic. From outside, the Armada watched in shock. Their sensors showed a single ancient warship, partially damaged, yet able to disable multiple modern vessels with one shot. Confusion spread. They had expected an abandoned relic, not a living fighting machine guided by a human. Inside the ship, the AI observed Elias closely. You do not follow protocol. You improvise. You adapt. Why? Elias wiped his hands. Because I have to. Rules don't save lives. People do. The AI seemed to hesitate. It had never encountered beings who valued life over protocol. In all its battles, only strategy mattered. Humans were different. The alien scouts retreated, but the Armada would not wait forever. They sent a transmission demanding surrender, warning that they would claim the ship by force. Elias listened, then smiled. Let them come, he whispered. He worked faster now, repairing more critical systems. Aye. The AI, learning from him, began to suggest improvements instead of merely reporting damage. Shields were rerouted. Weapon systems were recalibrated. The ship seemed to breathe, almost like a living entity. During this work, Elias discovered the ship's original purpose. It was a command vessel, capable of controlling entire fleets. Not just a weapon, not just a ship, but a brain for war. It could issue orders to thousands of ships, coordinate complex maneuvers, and execute strategies no living being could comprehend in seconds. The implications were terrifying. If the Armada captured it, the galaxy could be reshaped in hours. But Elias did not fear. Humans had faced worse. Humans had survived impossible odds before, and now he was giving the galaxy a warning it would never forget. Elias ran tests. One by one, he activated turrets, shields, and communication arrays. Every system responded faster and stronger than it should have. He realized something incredible. By repairing and modifying it in a human way, he had improved the ship beyond its original design. The AI confirmed it, almost reluctantly. You are different, it said. No crew of the past could have made this work. Humans are stubborn, Elias replied. We make the impossible work because we have to survive. Suddenly, sensors detected a massive energy spike outside. The Armada had arrived in full force. Hundreds of alien warships surrounded the moon, forming a deadly circle. Transmission after transmission demanded surrender. Threats, bribes, warnings, all ignored. Elias took a deep breath. He knew that a full fight was coming. He did not fear death. He feared failure. He had awakened a warship, and now the galaxy wanted to take it away from him. The first wave attacked. Energy beams cut through space, striking the ship's shields. Alarms blared. The ship groaned, but Elias remained calm. He rerouted power manually, boosted shields, and fired the turrets with precise timing. The results shocked everyone watching. The warship did not fight like any other alien vessel. It fought like a human machine. Adaptable, unpredictable, brutal when needed, careful when necessary. Weapons shifted mid-battle. Shields adapted to new attacks. Every move was calculated yet flexible. Elias felt the ship responding to him. They were partners, not master and machine. He issued commands instinctively, without thinking. The AI followed his lead, executing strategies no alien could anticipate. Entire waves of alien ships were disabled, not destroyed. Engines fried, weapons jammed, systems scrambled. They spun helplessly in space, forced to retreat or surrender. No one had ever seen anything like it. The Armada's commanders were stunned. Their fleets were the most advanced in the galaxy, yet one human and one ancient ship had bested them. Panic spread. Orders were shouted, plans revised, and alliances tested. Inside, Elias worked tirelessly, patching damage even as the ship took fire. Sparks flew, alarms screamed, and heat rose in the corridors. He ignored it all. Machines required focus, and focus required calm. Humans survived chaos because they could stay calm when others could not. The AI finally spoke, almost in awe. "Humans, you are not just mechanics. You are warriors. You choose life in every action. You make decisions that no program could calculate." Elias smiled, blood and sweat on his face. "We survive," he said simply, "and sometimes we fight." Outside, the Armada withdrew, sending messages of fear and respect across the stars. The signal was clear. This was no ordinary human. This was no ordinary ship. Humans had awakened something the galaxy had forgotten. As silence returned to the dead sector, Elias leaned against a wall, exhausted, but alive. He looked around the corridors of the ancient warship and whispered, "We've only just begun. They will come back." "And we will be ready," the AI responded, its voice steady and confident for the first time in millennia. "Then we fight as one." "You and I." Elias nodded. He knew the galaxy had changed. One human mechanic had repaired an impossible machine, and in doing so had reminded the stars why humans should never be underestimated. And far away, in the cold darkness of space, fleets began to move. They had heard the tale of a human who had awakened a warship, and none were certain who would survive the next encounter. The dead sector had quieted, but the calm was only temporary. From the dark void beyond the moons, the alien armada regrouped. Hundreds of warships glimmered in the distance, a sea of sharp hulls and glowing weapons. They had underestimated the human mechanic in the ancient warship he had awakened. That mistake would not repeat. Elias Rook stood in the command chamber of the warship, surveying the holographic displays. Every system hummed, repaired, or improved by human hands. He had patched the engines, rerouted shields, and brought the ancient weaponry online. The ship was no longer fragile. It had become something else, something alive, dangerous, and unpredictable. The AI's voice echoed through the chamber. "They will attack with full force. You must decide, surrender or fight." Elias tightened his grip on the railing. "We don't surrender. Not to them. Not ever." His eyes swept the battle-ready consoles. "Humans don't wait for help. We make it happen." The first wave of alien ships jumped into the dead sector. Their energy signatures flared against the black, approaching the moon like a swarm of predators. The Armada's commanders believed they could overwhelm the ship, believing the human inside would panic, would fail, would run. They were wrong. Elias activated the primary weapons array. Turrets spun into position. Shield matrices shimmered, glowing with renewed power. He ran diagnostics with a practiced eye, adjusting targeting systems manually. Each calculation was instinctive, honed by years of repairing engines and machines under impossible conditions. The AI spoke almost in disbelief. "Your methods, they are unpredictable. I cannot calculate all outcomes." Elias smiled. "That's the point. When the first alien ships fired, the warship did not retreat. Shields flared, absorbing the energy, while defensive systems rerouted power to weakened areas. Elias triggered the turrets, and laser beams cut through enemy engines with precision. Ships that were considered elite were crippled before they could even fire again. The alien commanders panicked. They had expected a relic, a derelict they could claim easily. Instead, they faced a machine that moved faster, thought faster, and adapted faster than their best strategists could anticipate. Elias's hands moved across the controls, making decisions no computer could replicate. Turrets shifted mid-fire, shields reallocated energy instantly, and the engines dodged calculated strikes with a precision born of human instinct. The AI followed his lead, adapting its protocols to his improvisation. Together, they were not just a human and a machine. They were a single entity, unstoppable and alive. Outside, the armada began to falter. Their formations broke apart under the human-guided warship's unpredictable attacks. Some ships were disabled, others scattered, and a few tried to flee. The galaxy had never seen a single ship cause so much chaos against such overwhelming numbers. Inside the command chamber, Elias took a moment to breathe. Sparks flew from a damaged console. Smoke curled from a vent. But he did not stop. Every moment counted. Every second was life or death. The AI's voice softened, almost contemplative. Humans, you fight differently. You do not follow rules. You adapt. You survive. Elias glanced at the AI's interface, lines of code and data streaming like a river. That's what we do. We survive. We fight when needed. And we never give up. The Armada's flagship moved forward, larger than the rest, its weapons glowing with destructive energy. It was a message: surrender, or all will be destroyed. Elias's eyes narrowed. He had no fear. He had something far stronger than fear: resolve. He activated the warship's ancient command systems. Though designed to control thousands of ships, he used them differently. He did not command other vessels. He commanded space itself. Shields bent, weapons synchronized, energy redirected. Every system worked in harmony, a machine guided by human thought. When the flagship fired, Elias anticipated it. The warship moved, just slightly, just enough. The beam struck empty space. Counterfire disabled the flagship's engines, leaving it drifting helplessly. The rest of the Armada hesitated. They had never encountered a human-led machine that did not follow predictable patterns. Elias smiled faintly, feeling a strange pride. This was not just skill. This was human instinct, honed through survival on harsh worlds, through years of improvisation, through the stubborn refusal to give up. The galaxy had forgotten humans, but humans remembered themselves. Another wave of enemy ships attacked. This time, Elias took a calculated risk. He overrode safety protocols, pushing the ship's engines and weapons to levels no living crew had ever achieved. The AI protested, warning of potential core damage. Elias ignored it. Sometimes survival required risk. Lasers tore through enemy hulls. Missiles were intercepted mid-flight. Alien ships spun helplessly as systems overloaded. The Armada had power, numbers, and planning. But they lacked human unpredictability, human courage, human instinct. Amid the chaos, a small group of alien fighters tried to board the warship. Automated defenses activated, cutting them down without mercy. Elias did not hesitate. He knew that a human mechanic's job was not just to repair, but to protect. Every action was intentional. Every decision weighed. The flagship attempted a desperate maneuver, trying to ram the warship. Elias anticipated it. Shields braced. Energy redirected. Turrets fired in perfect timing, destroying the flagship before it could reach the hull. The remaining alien ships fled in panic. For the first time in centuries, the warship moved freely in space. It had been asleep, forgotten, abandoned. Now, under human guidance, it was alive again. Not just a weapon, but a statement, a warning, a promise. The AI's voice, once cold and mechanical, now carried something almost reverent. You are unlike any being I have known. You awaken life where others would see only death. Elias wiped sweat from his brow. We fix what others abandon. We survive what others fear. And sometimes, we fight when no one else will. Outside the dead sector, the Armada's communications were filled with confusion, fear, and disbelief. How could a single human in one ancient ship disable hundreds of warships? How could they survive? How could they fight like this? The galaxy had underestimated humans, and now it would pay attention. Elias did not celebrate. He worked quickly, patching minor damage and preparing for the inevitable return of the Armada. He knew they would regroup, gather more forces, and come back stronger. But humans did not run. Humans did not surrender. Humans adapted. The warship, once a relic, now responded to him as a partner. Turrets aligned, shields pulsed, engines hummed with power. It had learned human methods, and in turn, it had grown stronger. Together, they were unstoppable. As the battle ended, the dead sector returned to silence. The stars were quiet once more. But the galaxy had changed. One human mechanic had reminded the stars that humans survived impossible odds, that humans could awaken the dead, and that humans could lead where others failed. Elias looked out into the black void, feeling the weight of responsibility. The Armada would return. Other threats would come, but he was ready. He had a warship. He had an AI that trusted him. And he had human instinct, the greatest weapon of all. The AI spoke almost softly. "We will fight as one human. Together we will face all who threaten life and freedom."
Elias nodded.
"Then let them come, we're ready." And far away, in distant systems, alien fleets whispered of the human who had awakened a warship, of the machine that moved like a living being, and of a single mechanic who had changed the balance of power in the galaxy. The warning spread quickly, reaching ears that had long ignored humanity. The message was clear. Humans were no longer to be dismissed. Humans did not surrender. Humans did not beg. Humans adapted. Humans survived. The galaxy had taken notice. Word of the dead sector's events traveled faster than any official announcement could manage. Across the stars, alien fleets whispered in fear. A human mechanic had awakened a forgotten warship, a machine thought to be lost to history. Even the largest empires stopped to listen, hesitant, uncertain, and anxious. But Elias Rook did not hear these whispers. Inside the colossal warship, he focused on what mattered: survival, defense, and preparation. The dead sector was no longer empty. Danger surrounded them, and the galaxy had a long memory. Humans had survived worse. Humans had adapted and improvised. And now he would show the galaxy why humans could not be ignored. The alien armada had not vanished entirely. Dozens of warships lurked at the edges of sensor range, waiting, planning, calculating. They were afraid, yes, but not foolish. They had the numbers, the technology, and the arrogance to believe they could strike again. Elias knew they would return, stronger, more coordinated. And he was ready. Inside the ship, the AI spoke, its voice resonant and calm. "They will strike again. They have learned from their losses." "Your instincts are impressive, human, but alone you cannot face the full armada." Elias leaned against the control panel, wiping sweat from his brow. "I'm not alone. You are here." "We're a team. And humans. Bad. We don't give up." The warship responded with a subtle vibration, as if acknowledging his words. Its systems hummed in perfect coordination, shield matrices pulsing, engines ready to react instantly. Every weapon was online, calibrated not just for destruction but for precision. Elias had not merely repaired it, he had improved it. He had awakened potential no other species could have realized, and that potential was about to be tested. The first strike came without warning. Alien ships, faster and more heavily armed than before, surged toward the warship. Energy beams cut through the void, missiles streaked like comets, and fighters darted in every direction. The Armada had learned from their previous mistake. They would not underestimate humans again. Elias moved quickly, hands flying across consoles. He activated shields in sequence, rerouted power to weapons, and adjusted thrusters manually. The warship responded as if it anticipated his every thought, tilting, spinning, and shifting to dodge attacks with fluid precision. The AI's voice carried a new tone, almost reverence. "I cannot compute all possibilities. You improvise beyond logic." Elias smiled faintly. "That's why humans survive. Turrets fired in perfect synchronization. Missiles intercepted enemy missiles mid-flight. Energy beams struck multiple targets simultaneously. Entire squadrons were disabled before they could even react. The galaxy had never seen such coordination from a single ship or from a single human guiding it. But the battle was only beginning. The Armada's flagship, larger and more heavily armed than before, emerged from the shadows. Its energy signature dwarfed everything else in the sector. It sent a transmission: surrender immediately or all will be destroyed. Elias did not flinch. "We don't surrender. Not ever," he said aloud. His voice carried not just determination, but certainty. He had survived impossible odds before, and he would survive this. Humans had a way of turning hopeless situations into victories through courage, creativity, and stubbornness. The flagship fired. A massive beam cut through space aimed directly at the warship. Elias anticipated the strike, adjusting the shields and maneuvering the engines. The beam struck the void, missing the ship entirely. Another volley of missiles followed, all intercepted or rerouted. The Armada's confidence began to falter. Elias activated the ship's command systems in a way the AI had never seen. Though designed to coordinate fleets, he used them differently, humanly. He adjusted targeting matrices, shield frequencies, and weapon outputs instinctively, without hesitation. The warship moved as one with him, a living extension of his thought. The alien Armada realized too late that they were not facing a simple ship. They were facing a human mind, guiding an ancient superweapon. Unpredictable and precise, the flagship's weapons jammed, engines fried, systems disabled. The remaining warships scrambled, unsure of their next move. Inside the ship, Elias worked tirelessly. Sparks flew from damaged consoles, smoke curled from vents, alarms blared. He patched minor systems even as the battle raged. Every action was intentional, every decision measured. Humans survived chaos because they could focus when others panicked. The AI spoke, almost in awe. "You are not just a mechanic. You are a warrior. You choose life and survival in every action. Your instincts, they are extraordinary." Elias glanced at the AI interface, data streaming like a river of light. "We survive," he said simply. "And sometimes we fight." The remaining alien ships attempted a coordinated strike, trying to overwhelm the warship's defenses. Elias anticipated each maneuver, adjusting shields and weapons in real time. The warship responded faster than any AI, faster than any programming. It had learned from humans. It had adapted. It had grown stronger. In the chaos, the AI made a choice it had never made before. "I will protect you," it said. No human should face death alone. Elias nodded, sweat and blood on his face. "Good. Then let's finish this." The warship struck with precision. Energy beams disabled enemy weapons, engines, and communication arrays. Fighters were cut off from coordination, forced to flee or surrender. Even the flagship, the largest ship in the sector, was reduced to drifting helplessly in space. The galaxy watched in awe. "Then let's remind the galaxy why humans should never be ignored." From the dead sector, the warship broadcasted a message. It was simple, clear, and unmistakable. "This ship is under human protection. Stand down or learn why humans survived their own extinction wars." Across the galaxy, alien fleets paused. Governments reconsidered strategies. Traders whispered. Pirates hesitated. The galaxy had learned a lesson. Humans were unpredictable, relentless, and deadly when necessary. And one human had proven it beyond question. Elias walked through the ship, inspecting every system. Smoke cleared from the vents. Energy flow stabilized. Weapons were online, shields strong, engines ready. The warship had become more than a weapon. It had become a symbol. The AI spoke once more, voice resonating through the ship. "We are ready for any who challenge us. Together, we are unstoppable." Elias smiled. "Not just unstoppable. Remembered, feared, respected. That's what humans do." And far away, in systems that had long ignored humanity, Alien eyes watched the dead sector. They saw a human standing beside a warship, thought lost to time. They saw a machine, alive, guided by human instinct, and they knew one thing for certain: the galaxy would never underestimate humans again. Elias turned from the window, hands on the railing. He looked at the IA interface, glowing softly. "Let's leave this place," he said. "Time to show the galaxy what humans can do." The warship rumbled in response, engines igniting. It had waited centuries in silence, forgotten and abandoned. Now it followed a human mechanic into the stars, not as a weapon of war, but as a protector, a guardian, and a testament to human ingenuity. The dead sector faded behind them, and for the first time in millennia, the warship moved freely in space, alive and unstoppable. The galaxy had learned a truth it could not forget. Humans do not awaken old weapons. They give them a reason to fight. And sometimes that reason is simple: survival, loyalty, and the stubborn refusal to surrender. Elias stood in the command chamber, silent, calm, and ready. The stars stretched endlessly ahead. The galaxy waited, but humans had already taken the first step. And somewhere across the void, distant fleets shivered at the thought. The human and the warship. The adventure had only just begun. The dead sector had always been quiet, too quiet. But now, the silence carried a warning. Across the stars, distant sensors detected the faint energy surges that had escaped from the ancient warship. For most civilizations, the signals were meaningless blips, just background noise in the void. For others, they were impossible to ignore. Pirates, scavenger clans, and alien patrols all converged, drawn by the unusual readings. Many assumed a forgotten relic had been discovered. Many assumed it would be easy to claim. Few knew the truth. The ship was alive and it had a human inside. Inside the warship, Elias Rook worked tirelessly. Every corridor he explored revealed more damage than he expected. Rust, scorched metal, broken systems. Everything screamed neglect, but Elias did not panic. He had worked on worse. Machines were like living creatures he had always believed. They needed attention, understanding, and patience. Not fear. The ship's AI, which had woken only faintly before, now stirred more fully. Its voice echoed in the chambers, metallic and hollow, but with a hint of curiosity. "You understand me?" it said almost as a question. "I listen," Elias replied, wiping sweat from his brow. "I fix what you cannot fix yourself." The AI seemed to study him, scanning, analyzing. "Humans repair differently. Others would rebuild you exactly as before. You change me." Elias smiled faintly. "I don't just repair. I make things work. Better." It was true. Aliens often restored machines to original design, following blueprints and rules. Humans did not. Humans adapted. Humans improvised. Humans listened to the machine and then let instinct guide their hands. The ship felt it. The AI had been programmed to obey logic, history, and rules. But Elias broke those rules, and somehow that made the ship stronger. One human mechanic had not only survived, but had turned a forgotten warship into a force capable of defeating an entire armada. The story spread instantly. Humans were no longer weak, no longer insignificant. Humans could awaken the dead, master ancient technology, and stand against the greatest threats. After the battle, the dead sector returned to silence. The alien armada retreated, beaten but alive, sending messages of fear and respect across the stars. The galaxy would remember this day. The galaxy would remember the human who awakened a warship. Elias did not celebrate. He moved through the corridors, checking systems, patching minor damage, and preparing for the inevitable return of the armada. He knew this victory was only temporary. Other threats would come, but he was ready. He had a warship. He had an AI that trusted him. And he had human instinct, the greatest weapon of all. The AI spoke, voice steady and confident. "We will face all who threaten life and freedom, together." Elias smiled faintly. "Then let them come. We are ready." He walked to the command chamber window, looking out into the void. Stars glittered, distant and indifferent. But for the first time, Elias felt a sense of purpose larger than himself. The warship was no longer a relic. It was a statement, a guardian, a warning. The galaxy had seen humans underestimated time and again. They had watched as humans survived impossible odds, fought against overwhelming forces, and thrived where others failed. And now, they would see something more. Humans could awaken the past, master it, and use it to protect the future. Elias touched the console gently. "You're more than a machine now," he said to the warship. "You're alive, and we're going to keep it that way." The AI's response was simple, almost proud. "I exist because of you, human. I follow you. Not as a master, not as a servant, but as a partner." Elias nodded.